Minwar steps up. In goes Hot Pink. Time for the UAE Oaks of 2022. All in. Gates crash open. And they're racing, and Shahama didn't get away wonderfully well. She's last in the early stages. Remas broke out well with Minwar right alongside past us first time round. Chazz third. Arabian Gazelles took a chance against the inside rail to make a length, and Hot Pink is exposed at the outside of runners. Then just over a length away to Shahzadi, who's just over racing for now. Shahama, after missing the start, races at the end of the field, and she's 6 lengths adrift. They seem to be going a good gallop towards the back straight, and they got a little over 1,400 meters left to go, and Remas is the one in front, albeit narrowly. Hot Pink, who was stuck out deep in the early stages, had no option but to commit and go and race in second, and right alongside the leader with Minwar, also not too far away, only half a length down in third. Then a length and a half away to Arabian Gazelles, who races at the inside of Chazz. Further back then to Shahama, made a place. Shahzadi has now dropped out to the back of the field. Towards the corner of the track they go and head down towards the final 1,000 meters. New leader in front now. We find Minwar. Minwar's got it narrowly. Second place Remas against the inside rail comes right back. Then Hot Pink in the maroon colours, trapped out deep and racing away in third and a length behind the leader. Arabian Gazelles is fourth, and the pink and green colours kept company by Chazz. Now Shahama made another place, but she's making ground at the outside. She's running a little bit of extra ground. Shahzadi also gets a wriggle on, but she's got the rail to help. They went past the 500 metres mark, and Remas regained the lead and will bring them into the home straight, but she's under a ride over Minwar in second, and Shahama now right in the race and right alongside. Then comes Shahzadi, Arabian Gazelles. They further back. Shahama 300 metres out, just asked for a little more. Adri de Vries blows her a kiss, and she's a length and a half in front. Arabian Gazelles, Minwar second and third. Then comes Remas, but Shahama is dripping in class. She's 2 to 3 lengths in front, and she'll win the UAE Oaks. Sensational. Shahama's 4 from 4. Second goes to Arabian Gazelles. Then came Minwar. Remas was fourth, Chazz. Then came Shahzadi and Hot Pink.
Well, she's 4 from 4, but it wouldn't have been entirely easy for Adri, because I think she had to give her a bit of a shove to get her out the stall. She looked like she'd fallen asleep in there. Class wheel out, though. She's come home good 2-3 lengths clear of Arabian Gazelles, who's run a fine race in second and maybe a nice filly. Mikey, if she misses a break like that in the UAE Derby, it could be game over against Colson on a faster track.
Yeah, but I mean, it could have been game over today, to be honest, because she took a lot of dirt. She was climbing a bit, as Steve remarked off camera, she was climbing a bit, going around, rejecting the dirt a bit. So, you know, she's had 3 races in particular out of the 4 where I think that she's had to overcome considerable issues, and this was by far the best. I feel like she overcame the things that would have shut down a lot of other fillies.
Oh, she's just so much better than these. She can afford to give them all a couple of lengths at the start. I wonder if she'll actually earn a raced ungenerously comment from the stewards, though, for that early.
It was hard to tell. She was running away from us, but it just seemed like it's a climbing interaction, not really facing the kickback. And yeah, like Mikey says, she's overcome quite a few things in getting ahead in front there, including potentially stamina. I know she's seen off Arabian Gazelle, Gazelles, beg your pardon, who had more stamina than most in this field on paper. She wasn't extending the way at the end. She's had a harder race than I thought she would, but that was necessary because of the way she got behind, the way she had to make her ground up and then see her race off. It'd be fascinating to see what Adri says after the race, because she has got there on the bridle, hasn't she? And you just felt here she might go and win by 6 or 7.
He kept her going, didn't he? If he was, there was no sort of element of I'm keeping her for the dub. I mean, they got ages, haven't they, to World Cup with 6 weeks. But he was maybe mindful that either she'd look around at things and maybe stop, or that something was coming. And Frankie was coming on Arabian Gazelles and was very stylishly chasing, but without really looking like he was ever going to get there. And she's just too good. But she won't have that class advantage against the Colts.
Yeah, I agreed on that. But to me, Audrey goes a long way in comforting this filly when things don't go her way, and he's done that a few times in the races so far, where you look at his body language and he around the bend, and he absolutely kind of shut her down and relaxed her and let her take the dirt and let her get into a situation where she was comfortable. And then she put herself into the race on the outside, and when he turned for home, he was still, like, he didn't move his arms until within the furlong.
Yeah, it never looked. I mean, the crowd were applauding before the turn. Like they knew she had it won. As soon as she kind of went alongside, started to make a move, she was never going to get beaten. You didn't think. I just wonder if they need to work on a bit on the gate with her. And
yeah, you do start to worry when fillies, in particular, start missing the break a little bit. And
it might just be that she's very relaxed and laid back and almost, forgets to kind of get going. I don't think it was any sort of sourness or anything like that. I think she's totally genuine, but you just can't get away with that in a better race.
No, I mean the Derby's run early.
Unless you're arrogant, of course.
The Derby's run early in the evening as well, isn't it? Early in the card, beg your pardon, on World Cup night. And it's very hard it's going to be a full field of 16, you'd imagine. So yeah, it would be difficult to overcome. She wouldn't be the first filly, as the fillies series goes on, she becomes less impressive as time goes on. It's just so difficult to maintain that level right throughout. So as you say, a nice freshen up now, bring her back in 6 weeks, and presumably they will go for the Derby, or if not, then there'll be options in America, I'm sure.
They got a problem, haven't they? Heavy-ish jockey, 53 kilos.
Yeah.
There is
Tygo Shea will be on the phone already.
I'd say, I think David Egan might be in prime position for that. But
Does he do Floyd at 53?
Yeah, he will do, yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? He rides for Fowsey, and he would, that would be lovely were they to put him up. Huge shame for Adju if he is to miss out, because he's been a huge part of this filly's career, and I agree with you that I think he is important to her, because he's just not the sort of person to panic. I think you could chase Adju with a blowtorch and he wouldn't panic. He's that sort of person.
No, exactly. He's just got so much, and he'll know the filly, having, I presume, rides her every morning. He's definitely in the yard every morning, and I'm guessing that given that she is the apple of their eye, that he'd be taking responsibility for ensuring everything goes smoothly in her preparation, which it has done so far. And yeah, it's just not easy winning 4 races on the bounce anywhere in the world, let alone here in such a relatively short period of time. So I'd still be giving her credit for winning, for all she wasn't blistering and going away. She still won by 2 lengths in the end. Let's not forget Arabian Gazelles. She cost $110,000. She's related to good horses. She could be pretty good as well, if not quite as quick as Shahama on the day.
Second in the Oaks should get you into the Derby if they wanted to go there with Arabian Gazelles, and I think they should.
Yeah, they probably should.
I'd almost want to take her back to England for the Oaks, but over a mile and a half. But she's she's obviously dirt bred, and Dr. Jim Hay did say he'd like to have more horses here. But there's the start. You can just see is that a resentment of Kickback, the way she's climbing in her action?
A little bit, but I feel like she's wanting to maybe go on and catch up to them a bit. And Audrey's saying, like, wait a minute. And she listens to him, and I thought, here's what I think is, I actually think this is her most, like I mentioned before, it's the most impressive race, not because of the finish. She is still yet to be fully asked by Audrey in these races. He has not very panicked in any situation and asked her for 110%. What really makes her impressive is she has 3 or 4 different moves that she's made in almost every race, and that's the sign of a truly good dirt horse. It's always a progression, it's a grind. It's not like a simple turn of foot that you'll see in the final 2 to 3 furlongs, like in turf racing. A good, proper dirt horse does what she does, and she does it very similarly to her brother, Looking at Lucky, who had gears upon gears.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a combination of things for me. Like as Stephen mentioned, the track on the 26th of March, it might not, but it does often ride very, very fast. It's hard to close.
Look how quickly she makes up 3 or 4 lengths here.
She does do it very quickly, doesn't she? Yeah.
And she's doing it, and it doesn't look like she. You can only tell because of the distance comparison with the other fillies.
She was going past non-stayers at this point, wasn't she? Not good enough horses.
But she's closing in on the 2 fillies. She passes Arabian Gazelles there, who simply stays on. But here he still hasn't moved. He shakes her up and it's over. And he asks her to just finish for a furlong and a half.
Just trying to think what colts she's likely to come up against, assuming they do go for the Derby. What's on your list that's coming over from America?
Pinehurst.
That's true. Pinehurst
he'll be
wins.
very tough. It's if he sees it out.
Yeah.
And if he keeps progressing, because he did have a tough 2-year-old season. And to me, I think it's, and I know I'm in the vast minority here, but I do think that Azure Coast is the horse to beat in the UAE Derby.
Who has a similar style, and my same reservations would apply to him.
Yeah.
As we said last week, after he won the Guineas, he's not going to get away with maybe the track riding as it normally does early in the card. It'd be fascinating if something can just nick off the front end like Panadol almost did last year, something like that. But yeah, it's from being fairly down on the 3-year-old bunch here, sort of around December time, pretty much when she made her debut. I think, as you would hope, that these 3-year-olds have just got better and better as the season's gone on.
And also, another element we've had this year has been the Uruguayan horses, Quality Boon and Kiefer. I think with better, closer rides, those